Welcome to the deep dive. So, McKinsey Quarterly, they're celebrating a pretty big milestone, 60 years.
That's right, 6 decades. And for the anniversary, they've put together this really interesting special issue.
Yeah, looking back at, what is it, 25 pivotal tech moments, things that really changed how business works.
Exactly, stuff that fundamentally reshaped things. So we
Alright.
thought we'd dive into some of those highlights.
Sounds good. Consider this your curated tour through those moments, pulling out the key insights.
Right. The goal is to connect those dots, see how those past shifts influence, well, everything today. Provide some context for you.
Okay, let's jump in then. McKinsey starts way back in 1964. IBM's System 360. What was the big deal there?
System 360. Well, the revolutionary part was the idea of interchangeable software and peripherals. Modularity.
Interchangeable, meaning.
Meaning before that, businesses were often locked into one big monolithic system. If you needed something new, you often bought a whole new machine.
Okay. Locked in.
Yeah. But IBM decoupled things. You buy the main computer, then choose different printers, different software. It freed businesses up.
So that opened the door for other companies like specialized software makers.
Precisely. It fostered this whole ecosystem of specialized hardware and software vendors we rely on today. A massive shift.
Got it. Okay, then just a year later, 1965, we get Moore's Law, named after Gordon Moore from Intel.
Right. And it's important to remember it wasn't a physical law like gravity.
It was more of an observation or a prediction.
Exactly, a prediction. He observed that the number of transistors you could fit on a chip was roughly doubling every 2 years, and the cost wasn't really going up.
And that just kept happening.
It became a self-fulfilling prophecy, really. The whole semiconductor industry used it as a target, pushing innovation relentlessly. This exponential growth in power. It's fueled almost everything digital since.
Hard to imagine our world without that constant doubling. Okay, let's jump forward a few years. 1969, ARPANET, the Internet's precursor.
Yep, created by the U.S. Department of Defense's research arm, ARPA. The key tech here was packet switching.
Packet switching, breaking data down.
Exactly. Instead of one continuous connection, data was broken into little packets. They could travel different routes across the network and get reassembled at the end.
More resilient, I guess, if one path was down.
Much more resilient and efficient, especially for connecting computers over long distances. It's the fundamental architecture the modern internet is built on.
Okay, foundational stuff. Now, 1973 seems like a busy year in their list. First cell phone call.
Yeah. Martin Cooper at Motorola calling his rival at Bell Labs part of AT&T. Bit of a cheeky move.
Definitely competitive. But the first commercial phone was later, right? And expensive.
Oh yeah, much later. The Motorola Dynatac came out about a decade after that first call. And it cost something like $4,000 back then.
Wow.
So not exactly for everyone initially, but it was the spark, the beginning of the whole mobile revolution.
And the same year, 73, GPS gets started. Another military project initially.
That's right. Navstar GPS by the U.S. DoD, designed for precise military navigation, positioning, timing.
But now businesses rely on it for everything. Logistics, tracking.
Absolutely. It's a classic example of military tech finding massive civilian and commercial application. Think deliveries, farming, construction. Indispensable now.
Okay, here's one that seems simple but huge. 1974, the UPC barcode. On a pack of gum, apparently.
Wrigley's gum, yeah. And McKinsey actually mentions they were involved in developing the standard.
So what did the barcode do for business?
It totally streamlined retail. Checkout became faster, fewer errors. Inventory control got way, way better.
Tracking what's sold, what's in stock.
Exactly. Reduced costs, improved efficiency. It was adopted incredibly quickly, especially in grocery stores. You can see why it just worked.
Hard to imagine checkout without it now. Also in 74, Intel's 8080 microprocessor, key for personal computers.
Oh, definitely. The 8080 was a leap forward in power and versatility for microprocessors at the time. It wasn't the very first, but it was powerful enough and accessible enough.
And it powered that early PC, the Altair.
Yes, the Altair 8800, which was more of a kit for hobbyists, really. But it ignited the whole scene. People like Bill Gates, Paul Allen. They saw the Altair with the 8080 and thought, okay, software is the future. It was a catalyst.
So we have processing power, but what about managing all the data? 1979, Oracle version 2, relational databases.
Sounds technical.
It is a bit technical, but the concept is crucial. Before relational databases, managing large amounts of business data was clunky.
How did relational databases change that?
They allowed you to organize data into structured tables, customers here, orders there, products somewhere else, and then relate them. You could ask complex questions like, show me all customers in California who bought product X.
Oh, so you could get actual insights, not just store raw data.
Exactly. It enabled much better analysis and decision making. It was fundamental to making computers truly useful business tools. Oracle V2 was the first commercial relational database building on ideas from IBM's research. Okay, that makes sense. Huge leap. Let's skip ahead a bit. 1991, the World Wide Web goes public. Tim Berners-Lee.
Monumental. ARPANET and the underlying internet existed, but the web, with browsers and clickable links, made it accessible to everyone.
Hypertext, graphical interfaces.
Yeah. Suddenly, anyone could share information, set up a virtual storefront. It was just transformed communication, commerce, everything. Hard to overstate its impact.
Truly world-changing. Okay, into the 2000s. 2006, Amazon Web Services, AWS. Cloud computing is born.
This was another paradigm shift. Before AWS, if a company needed computing power or storage, they had to buy physical servers, manage data centers. Big upfront cost, lots of maintenance.
Right. Capital intensive.
AWS essentially said, rent computing power from us over the internet. Pay as you go. Scalable. Flexible.
Like a utility.
Exactly like a utility.
Yeah.
Democratized access to massive computing resources.
Yeah.
Startups could suddenly afford infrastructure that only huge corporations could before. Microsoft, Google jumped in later, creating this massive cloud industry.
Game changer for IT. Then, right after, 2007, the iPhone.
Yeah, Apple didn't invent this smartphone, but the iPhone redefined it. It wasn't just a phone with some extra features. It was a powerful computer in your pocket with a great touch interface and, crucially, easy mobile internet access.
And the App Store came soon after, right?
Right, creating a whole new economy. It shifted everything towards mobile. The sales figures, even from the launch, showed it was something different.
And that brings us almost to today. McKinsey highlights generative AI, especially ChatGPT's release in late 2022.
Yeah, this feels like the beginning of the next big wave. Gen AI's ability to understand and generate human-like text, code, images. It's a step change in AI capability.
We're seeing companies adopt it really quickly.
Incredibly fast.
Yeah.
Potential impact on productivity, how we interact with computers, even creativity. It seems enormous. We're still figuring it all out, but it's clearly a pivotal moment.
So looking back across these moments, McKinsey selected for their 60th, it's just constant change, constant disruption.
Absolutely. From mainframes decoupling hardware and software, to Moore's Law driving power, to connecting everything with ARPANET and the web, to making data useful with databases, to putting computers everywhere with PCs and phones, and now AI. It's a cycle.
You see themes emerge, right? More power, more connectivity, better ways to use data, more intuitive interfaces.
Definitely. Understanding this history, these inflection points, it really gives you context for what's happening now and maybe what might come next.
Okay, so to wrap this up, thinking about these massive shifts McKinsey highlighted, here's something for you, the listener, to chew on. Looking at these past transformations, what emerging tech do you think will define the next 60 years of business, and what unexpected twists might come with it?
That's a great question. The pace isn't slowing down. The next big aha moment is probably right around the corner.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for exploring these moments with us.